Bo-Katan and her reconnaissance squad retreat from Moff Gideon's base. Upon returning to the Mandalorian flagship, Axe-Woves sends the remaining Mandalorians to reinforce the planetary troops while he defends the ship from Imperial TIE squadrons. With assistance from Grogu, Din Djarin escapes from captivity and seeks out Gideon. Djarin and Grogu discover cloning tanks filled with clones of Gideon, and Djarin destroys them. After a lengthy skirmish between the Mandalorians and the Beskar-enhanced stormtroopers within the base, Bo-Katan, Djarin, and Grogu make a final stand against Gideon and his Praetorian guards, in which the Darksaber is destroyed. Woves rams the Mandalorian capital ship into the Imperial base, and Gideon is consumed by the resulting blast. Grogu protects Bo-Katan and Djarin from the blast with a force bubble. After the battle, the Mandalorians restart the Great Forge at the heart of Mandalore, and Djarin formally adopts Grogu. Afterwards, Djarin takes up honest contact work with Carson Teva and moves into a cabin on the outskirts of Navarro's capital, as previously offered to him by Greef Karga, while IG-11 is rebuilt by the Anzellan mechanics to serve as Navarro's new marshal. Thanks for stopping by the Surge T channel. I am Surge T. In this video, I'll be doing my recap on Episode 8, the season finale of the Mandalorian Season 3. And this is Chapter 24, it's entitled The Return. And the one thing I want to talk about in this video is Grogu, or who we know now as Din Grogu. He was officially adopted by Din Djarin, and he felt he had to do that because as a foundling and as a child, still a baby, he can't recite the creed as per the armor. That's what she said. And so, in order to recognize him as an apprentice, a Mandalorian apprentice, he adopted him officially. He says, I adopt him. And she says, we now recognize, because of course she's like saying, we could only recognize him as a foundling because he cannot recite the creed. But then when he adopted him, he became family. And she said, okay, I will now recognize you as Din Grogu. You are a Mandalorian apprentice. And everybody says, this is the way. She said, this is the way. And then they repeated it, the Mandalorians. So it's accepted. What I like about him, what I like about Grogu, I've not read any negative about him. Nothing's people saying, because people could be pretty negative about this series, especially this season. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people say that it, I'm just saying this myself, but a lot of people probably think that it's jumped the shark. That whole saying, right? When the show goes away from what it used to be and it totally just goes off the rails and makes no sense. They got to add things in order to try to make it, and it doesn't look right. I have no problem with this show. I really have nothing. This episode and this season was great. You look at polls on YouTube and all that stuff, and they go from 0 to 1 as the lowest, what you thought about the episode, and then they go from 8 to 10 is the highest. And every one of those polls, every episode has been like 8 to 10, the highest percentage, 67%, 70%, And I absolutely enjoyed this episode. A lot of people are nitpicking at it, and I don't do that. That's not my channel. I don't go about it. I'm not an analytical person. I don't analyze the episode. I don't try to connect the dots and go, this doesn't have anything to do with this. It totally goes away from that. How could they say this when they said this in the Book of Boba Fett? Book of Boba Fett ruined it because mid-season thing, whatever, with the Mandalorian, was that 4 episodes? The last 4 episodes or so, right? Was focused on the Mandalorian, and then Grogu, deciding to go back to Din Djarin. It's the Bo-Katan show, or Bo-Katan, as this one person who wrote on one of my videos. I stopped liking the show when it became the Bo-Katan show, and I'm like going, how about you, before you make a complaint, how about you know the person's name first, Because maybe that's how he heard it, this person. Boca Can. Boca Can. Who's that? I know Boca Tan, but not Boca Can. Who's that? You know. But yeah, this one. What I liked about it is, especially the entire season, is you see the progression of Grogu, more and more powerful. He's becoming more wise, especially for his age, of how and when to use his powers. He always comes off as someone who is a baby, he's a child, right? So he's going to be scared, worried. You hear him whimpering, you hear him cooing, you hear him doing all those noises and all those sounds that you would expect of a child, right? But then when he needs to, he's using the Force. He's using his powers. I mean, we see what happens with toward the end when Axe Wolves, you know, he crashes the Mandalorian capital ship into the Imperial base, and you know, all that fire from the blast engulfs Moff Gideon, kills him, and then you see Grogu with his hands up, creating a force bubble, and he saves his mom and dad. You know, of course, you know, we all know that, we all affectionately think of those two as that, and that's what who Grogu looks at them. You know, I mean, it's just amazing. I like his story arc, and I like his progression in the series, especially this season. I just can't wait to see what's going to happen when he grows up, if the show lasts that long, or they're going to do a spin-off with Grogu. I don't know. But to see him progress, and to see his powers, and him being wise to use it, you know, and how knowing when to use it, and knowing when he, you know, because it's weird, because it's just like a switch, like, you know, he flips, like he's really, you know, he's like a child, like I said, and then all of a sudden he knows, he's like he flips a switch, and okay, I gotta use the Force on this part, I gotta do this, I gotta, you know, cover us with a Force bubble. He's there. He saves by using IG-12. He saves his dad. You know, he saves Din Djarin against the what do you call it? Against the who are those guys? The Brotarian guards, right? And you see him using the Force, putting his hands up. You know what I mean? That he's allowing a. He's not allowing a. This is one guy. The other two are in fight, in battle with Din Djarin, and one guy keeps slipping, keeps falling. He goes for his weapon. It gets, it gets forced out of the way by Grogu, and you know he's probably going, "What's this little punk? This little so and so? What the hell is he doing? You know, would you leave me alone? You know, you know what I mean? It's funny because when you see that, and you just notice, you just know that. He looks like he's having fun doing it. You know? When he saved his dad, when he saved Din Djarin, and you know, Din Djarin goes, "Okay, from now on, kid, we have to be serious. We have to stop Moff Gideon, or else it's never going to stop." And he said, "Are you with me?" And then Grogu nods to him, yes. You know, like he nods his head. And it's one of those things where he's understanding. He's beginning to understand. And then, of course, we know that he gets adopted by Din Djarin officially, because there's some people, there's even a video I watched, and the guy goes, you know, I mean, it wasn't really not necessary, because we all assumed that he's like, you know, Mando's kid, because he's been treating him like his kid. But you gotta understand that he had to do that officially, so that the armorer who said that because he's a baby, he's a child, he's not old enough to recite the creed, he has to remain a foundling. So he figured, okay, I'm gonna adopt him, and then he could become a Mandalorian apprentice and join Mando on his adventures when he's a bounty hunter, on his journeys, so he can learn. And I'm looking forward to that when it comes to fourth season, seeing him learn the ways. I mean, people are saying, is this going to be the first generation or the first thing of a Mandalorian Jedi? You know? I mean, him being able to control his powers, him being able to know when to use it and be wise about it, that's like going back to his training under Luke and Ahsoka Tano, right? So that's the thing that this really, I mean, this episode was a lot of fun. This episode had a lot of great battle scenes, a lot of great action in the air and on the ground. You know, we see the Mandalorians take flight in their jetpacks, and they're going up against those stormtroopers, all in their Beskar steels. But they're, you know, you see, you know, Bo-Katan with her dark saber, and you see Koska Reeves with her two guns out, and you see the armor with her weapon of choice. You know, and they're going to town and they're destroying these troopers. They're just laying them out. While that's happening, of course, you see Din Djarin and Grogu fighting downstairs as well, down underground as well, and you see Axe Wolves taking on those TIE squadrons. A lot of good stuff in this episode. That's what I love about Star Wars. That's my favorite thing when it comes to Star Wars, is the well choreographed aerial battle scenes. And they've never lost their touch with that. From when Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and The Return of the Jedi to throughout all the movies and then the shows and all this stuff, that's always been, I think, their strong suit. I think that's their strong suit. Being able to film those. And film them well. It's very entertaining. You know? You're on the edge of your seat when you see them battling and them fighting in the air and on the ground and everything like that. I mean, I totally love the way that Grogu looked when he was using the Force and enforcing back then when he was fighting alongside his dad there, you know, and totally reminded me of Yoda, because there's one part when Yoda did that in the, I believe it was the Phantom Menace, and the way he looked like that, and then you kind of look at Grogu, and of course they're the same species, so it kind of reminds. That's why everybody referred to him as Baby Yoda in the beginning, before we knew his name was Grogu. And also when they stood off, they did a standoff against Moff Gideon, and you see them battling them, and you see little Grogu getting in there, and he's like, you know, using the Force to knock that's what is that? That staff. I think that was the staff that Moff Gideon had, and he's knocking him out. He's using the Force to get, you know, to kind of put it out of the reach, out of reach of Moff Gideon, and Moff Gideon went to go and attack him, you know, with a shot, and then, you know, Mando was able to, you know, to knock him down with a, you know, with a blast there. And of course we saw the Darksaber be destroyed. People are complaining about that. Why is that going to happen? Stuff like that. But then also that sets up a situation, a scenario that how is she now going to lead them? Is it going to matter that she doesn't have the Darksaber now? Will she still be able to be an effective leader without that? That's her identity. That's her thing that it's almost like a crutch. Maybe she doesn't need that. She's going to show that she didn't really need that, and then she's going to be able to lead them regardless. Maybe that's what that was. It was probably holding her back, maybe, because she just relied too much on that to be her symbol of being a leader. You know. But this sets up a lot of stuff, man, for the next season. And I'm looking forward to it, you know. I pretty much said as much as I can for this. I mean, there was a callback. There was a kind of a thing where if people didn't catch it, I'm pretty sure they did, when Moff Gideon, who, you know, this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi. This whole Mandalorian thing takes place after 5 years afterwards. So Darth Vader, of course, was already known. They know that he died. They know that he was, you know. And I'm just thinking that, because there's one scene where he goes, I'll take care of them myself, or I'll take care of it myself, or something like that. And we all know that Darth Vader said a line in Star Wars like, I will deal with them myself, or I'll deal with them myself. I'm just thinking, is he trying to be like Darth Vader? I mean, even the outfit that he has on, the, you know, kind of like looking like a high-tech version of Darth Vader, but it's, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things where, I mean, of course, he's not going to be anything like Darth Vader. He's like a bargain basement version of it, you know. Because was he really powerful? Was he really somebody, or was the suit is what made him who he was? Because remember when he knew that Luke Skywalker was in the season finale, was it season 2? When Luke Skywalker appeared and he was taking out those dark troopers, right? And he has a look on his face like he was so scared and so petrified and terrified. Now, if he's big bad Moff Gideon, why would he be acting like that? Why would that be any? Now, why would that even exist in his brain to be terrified? But because he knows, he saw him go in, right? As a, he was cuffed and everything. Darth Vader was gonna take him to the Emperor, and then he leaves with a dying Darth Vader. So of course he's gonna think, man, this guy fucked up Darth Vader. He took on the Emperor. He went in there and got out, and then the Emperor's never to be seen again. So he thought that this guy went in there and he cleaned house, and I don't want to deal with him. We all saw that. We all saw the look on his face when when Luke showed up. But one of the best moments too. I love that moment. But anyway, that's all I'm gonna say. A great episode to end the season. Great season. I don't care what anybody says. I loved the season. I thought it was great. People want to be nitpicky. That's just how it is. People want to be different. The fact that a majority of the people loved this episode and loved not only the episode, but loved the season, it speaks volumes. Sometimes people want to be negative, and that's their thing. That's their gig. They want to do that. But I'm not going to be negative, because if I didn't like this, I would say so. I'm brutally honest. I'm not somebody that just wants to be, oh yeah, it was great. Oh, it's great. And it wasn't. I'm not going to try to appease people and not offend people. Oh no. I don't want to be like, I want to be in the good graces of the Star Wars universe and the fans and the people that created it. Oh no, no, that's not me. I'm honest. And I honestly liked this episode, and I enjoyed this season. And I'm looking forward to season 4 when it does drop. But anyway, that's my video. So for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And in closing, as always, take care.